Conference. The campaign to stop league tables represents one of the most important campaigns in the history of education in Australia, one of the most important campaigns in the history of this union. Because of the damage caused by our high-stakes testing, low-quality league table regime, the campaign to stop league tables has united the profession in a way never seen before. Conference, we take our ethical responsibility, our professional responsibility to our students and our schools very seriously. We will not sit by and watch our students' test results become an adult spectator sport. An adult spectator sport which will result in ridicule and humiliation. We will not sit by and allow the provision of education to be damaged through a narrowing of the curriculum and a deepening inequality and segregation of schooling. A few months ago, Conference, Professor Brian Caldwell said, and I quote, "Parents and the profession will be standing on high ground if the language of radical dissent is adopted on this issue." Conference, it's deeds, not words, that matter. So let us be clear. In the absence of the introduction of measures necessary to stop the further creation and publication of league tables, the profession cannot and will not cooperate with the implementation of NAPLAN in 2010.
We strongly support action not to implement the test should the Deputy Prime Minister not fulfil her stated expression that she doesn't want league tables. So for the first time we will be, I guess, entering the possibility of this organisation across the country acting collectively together and taking action where it's necessary. And I think that's a wonderful thing for the organisation. It's not an end in itself, but it will show that despite the Rudd government, as I said, delivering some tremendous achievements in industrial relations and education, we're not going to sit back and cop this. We can't. The only other option is to do nothing, and that's not really an option at all. So I'll urge you strongly to support the resolution.
Let's look at the origins of the notion of league tables. It's a sporting term from Great Britain. It's meant to rank football teams from the top team to the bottom team. League tables was designed to describe winners and losers. And in sport, that is most appropriate. But my job as a teacher is to make every child a winner. My job as a teacher is to give every child hope. My job as a teacher is to engage every child in their learning. My job as a teacher is never to categorise a child as a loser. We won't assist in the mass deception of the community. I won't, as an educator, put into practice policies that ask me to do what is unconscionable. I will join with hundreds of thousands of teachers across Australia and reassert the profession's right to develop authentic assessment and have that assessment data used in an appropriate way to inform teaching and learning. Unless the government can put in place protections to protect schools from the misuse of that data, then we will not develop the data in terms of NAPLAN.
As an Aboriginal woman who's been teaching in schools for over 38 years, I have seen some of the devastating effects that past federal and state policies have had on Aboriginal students, parents and communities. Our students are already at a disadvantage with national standards well below their non-Indigenous classmates. Publication of these league tables from one test that is often culturally biased against Indigenous students will only deepen these inequalities and put more pressure on our schools that are trying so hard to close the gap. We don't want our kids and our schools to feel demoralised, to be branded as failing schools and to have their reputations damaged. We want our Indigenous students to be proud and to have the advantage of continued quality teaching and learning. And we want our communities working with our schools to help our kids to reach their full potential.
Our school's rich with data. We've got data everywhere. We publish it. We publish it in hard copy in 4 languages. It's on our website. We're proud of what we achieve and the value that we add. We're proud of it, as any other public school would be, as they strive to make a difference with every single child that comes through their doors. I can't sit by and put at risk the misuse of our data, which we have so richly gathered at our school so we can make a difference. Make no mistake, this is bad government policy. It's bad for our kids, and it's bad for our communities, and it's bad for our teachers. The most important asset we have in our school is our teachers. How are we going to attract and maintain and retain our brightest and best teachers if we're 757th on Julia Gillard's list?
Each and every one of us here knows the devastating impact that league tables will have on our schools and students. League tables are an attack against the social justice principles that we fight for and that our union holds so dear. For months, the entire education profession has been lobbying our respective state and territory governments and the federal governments for measures which will prevent the misuse of NAPLAN data for the publication of league tables. Today, these governments have been put on notice. This is an issue of fundamental importance. It has united the education community across the nation. From principals, teachers, governing councils, parents, school communities, academics and education professionals. There is a strong commitment to take a highly principled stand to protect our students and our schools from the bad policy decisions made by politicians.